What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Outside the Clutch, episode 9. We have been doing this now for just over 2 months. Pretty awesome. Crazy glare. Sorry, I'm going to point it out so you guys don't say something about it in the comments. But yeah, I'm super excited for tonight. I'm excited to talk to these people. They've been huge supporters of everything I've done since I've gotten in this industry. Jeremy and Genie, and they're always there to help out. They're always there to lend a hand to anybody in the industry. Huge supporters of USARK. We'll talk about some of the crazy antics that they've done to kind of promote USARK and help them out because they're always helping us out, right? Before we jump into that, we're going to go ahead and just give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Here at Outside the Clutch, we're honored to be sponsored by Vivtec. Are you ready for innovation? Tired of the same boring product that's been used for 30 years? Ready to give your reptiles and amphibians the UVB they really deserve? Then look no farther than Vivtec. Their 3-watt LED bulb provide the UV rays your animals have been missing. With 3 bulbs to fit your pet's climate needs for optimal husbandry, plus a dimmable feature, and it's the only bulb with a 2-year warranty in the industry. So what are you waiting for? Go to vivtecproducts.com today, use code FCLUTCH0322 for 10% off to provide your animals the best care they've ever had. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate you.
Hey, you left out that we were in the alumni together in the 15 minutes.
I did. I forgot. Oh my gosh. I talked about that last week, though. I was like, I got to make my rounds. I feel so bad. You guys were one of the ones I really wanted to talk to when it was heated. And they're what, season 3 now? Season 4? I think they're getting ready to start season 4.
3, yeah.
3?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Antoine won season 2, and now we're on 3.
Yeah.
Right? Or am I wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were competitors, and we gave ourselves like playful nudges during the competition, but you guys kept it clean. You weren't like me and me and Shane. Like me and Shane were razzing the hell out of each other.
To each other, man.
Excuse me. Voice is a little. You're gonna see me drinking a lot of water tonight. We were talking all day already, so my voice is a little.
Yeah. So what you did a show this weekend, huh?
Yeah. So Show Me Snakes has set up 3 shows in El Paso. There hasn't been a reptile show in El Paso for over 10 years.
Wow.
The closest show to us, I think, is Amarillo for the Herp show. And that's like twice a year, and that's 5-ish, 6-ish hours away from me.
Wow.
Depending on how you want to drive. So, yeah. So
how close is this one to you now?
30 minutes from my house.
And are they going to start doing it more often now?
Yeah. So it's going to be 3 times a year. We're really trying to grow it. I'm working with Mickey, and we're trying to promote it as much locally as we can. All the breeders here. There's about 10 breeders, 10-ish reptile breeders in El Paso, and it's still a really small community. People, like when they're coming to the shows, it's like most shows when it's starting out, right? They think of it more of like a petting zoo versus what we think about when we're looking at an expo, right? So I was like, well, I guess that's my spot to fit in right now because I don't have a bunch of babies to sell. Like, honestly, I don't have any babies to sell right now. I'm waiting on clutches for this year, and I'm sold out from last year. So I did the education thing. I was like, well, let's get hands-on. And then that way the other vendors don't have to worry about stuff being passed on to everyone else. Because we all know how wonderful shows can be for some vendors, right?
Oh yeah,
especially when they're first starting out. Don't always get the most pristine people, but no, Mickey's doing a good job. He's being very, very upfront about everything. There's venomous here, which is it's a little different for me because I'm used to the NARBCs, so you don't get a lot of venomous.
Right.
Well, you
Now,
don't get
do
any
you have
venomous
to have
there.
like a certain amount of hours or anything
Not in
to?
Texas, no.
So you can
So
just anybody can
technically,
roll up
I
and
can
buy
get a
like
herping
Cobra?
license. Yeah, I could go get a herping license and own whatever I want.
That's
Technically, in the
crazy.
state of Texas, like it. Well, you guys know, like I've done a lot of hours already. I feel like you should at least have 100-ish hours before you start doing it by yourself, because obviously they're all going to act different, right? Even if you're working the same species, like I've worked multiple atrox, multiple molosses, all the local rattlesnakes, and they're all freaking crazy, let alone cobras and stuff like that. I won't even go near a lapids. They scare the shit out of me, to be honest.
Right.
I can't read them at all. So but yeah,
So
so
when you
he's
get
setting
your,
it up, and go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so when you get your hours, that it's a one-time deal, or do you have to do like continuous education type thing where you have to like do a few more hours every couple years to keep that up?
Well, you don't even have to do it here. I don't even know what it's like in Florida. I know you have to do like testing on every family. You have to have 150 hours in Florida just to be able to keep venomous. And then you have to have like protocols and all that. So I was structuring what I wanted to do off of y'all's state because it has the hardest regulations in the United States.
Well, now with venomous, from what Paul was telling us too, soon I guess they're going to require you tell your neighbors that you have venomous. So
he's actually getting rid of all his stuff if he hasn't already. Paul from another
Paul
alumni.
McIntyre.
Yeah.
We see him at the shows. He's down. He's in Florida.
That sucks, man. That's two passions for him now out the door. Like he had retics, and then they put the ban on retics. He went to venomous after getting the license, and now that sucks for him, man. Like
Florida's
rough, man.
Yeah.
That's why we have our own USARK.
Right.
And that too.
I think we're the only state that has their own personal USARK, so.
Well, I mean, it seems like you guys are, as bad as it sounds, the tip of the spear for testing how regulations are going to go throughout the United States.
Yeah.
And then it travels up the East Coast like a freaking wildfire.
Yeah.
We've had the conversation of moving a few times, if it ever, shit ever hits the fan. Oh, by the way, are we allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're free, man.
I might have slipped a couple
My dad will say
out.
something later because he watches these and he's like, you need to be more professional. I was like, well, Dad, have you seen the industry I work in?
That's perfect because she cusses like a sailor. I just wanted to covering for her.
Military, like I don't even think about it. It comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where I am too. But it's funny. I used to spell my cuss words to my mother, till I was 18, even though, they had mouths like a sailor, so.
No, I'm a teacher. I have to learn to control it.
That's perfect. We need more teachers that are, we actually have a lot of teachers in the industry, I think. Some of them are fun to watch at the shows, but you see their alternate side, not the teacher side, come out, so it's funny.
Yeah.
But so what all are you guys working with over there? I know you have quite a few species, and you're like in the best place in the United States to keep whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Even though the laws are hard, but like that.
Well, it's nice because of our weather, we're able to keep some of them outside almost year round. So that helps us a lot.
So we have Rhino Iguanas. We have 1.2. They're in a 12 by 18 foot enclosure that's 8 foot tall. Half of it's covered, with a roof so they can go into the shade and the other parts open and stuff. They're outside all the time. We have Tenosaur pectinata or panda dragons or Mexican spiny tails. They look like pieds. There's some pictures on my Instagram on those. I don't know if you pulled those up or anything like that. We have Ackie monitors, ornate Uromastics.
Yep.
We have 3.4 of those. We're still growing them up. We have a whole room. In this room, this house here is a separate house. This is basically my reptile facility. We have some stuff in our main house. This is what you would call, I guess, a pool house or whatever. So we have all our like ball pythons and stuff in this room here. And then we have a whole nother, like a bedroom where we have all the ornate Uromastics. And we have split units so we can have different temperatures in each room for them.
And then in the main house, I have crested geckos in a separate bedroom because they have to stay cooler temperatures. So they stay in the main house. So we've just started breeding those. It's been about a year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how's your luck been down there? It's something I'm still trying to figure out. Like me and my wife are trying to figure out. That's what she wants to do. She likes the
Crested geckos.
and it's been a trial by fire for us.
Have you had any eggs yet?
We've had 3 sets of eggs, and we've lost 1 egg every group. And then
are they
the first 2 molded for some reason? Like we've tried lowering the substrate, we've tried burping it like you would.
What kind of substrate do you use?
It's a perlite and vermiculite mixture that I got from Josh's Frogs.
I use Pangea Hatch.
Okay.
So
it's that those clay balls.
Yeah, well, it's like kind of like rocks.
Lava rock or
they're kind of like rocks, and when you spray them and it's wet, it changes colors. So it lets you know if there's enough humidity in there or not. So that kind of helps. I have an egg that's sitting at 64 days right now.
Okay.
So hopefully soon we'll have some. It'll be nice.
All right. So to answer the main question, what you asked, everything we have, I'll give you the list real quick. So we got probably roughly, I don't know.
The tortoises you forgot.
Yeah, we got about 160 ball pythons. We got 7 ornate Uromastics. We got 4 redfoot tortoises, 3 Tunosaur pectinatas, 3, which is 1.2 in the Rhino Iguanas. We have 3 Ackie monitors, a blue tongue skink, a green tree monitor, a bearded dragon, fennec fox. God, what's that thing Casey has in her room? The chameleon. All right.
20-ish geckos, crested geckos.
Yeah, 20 crested geckos, and then you got 2 the other what's the ones in the living room?
Oh, gargoyles.
Did
you see the redfoots?
Yes, the redfoots.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got so
and
much.
We got dogs, cats, mice, rats.
I'm not gonna lie, I just lost like half of that list. That's a lot of stuff to be working with. How do you you said the green tree, right?
Yeah.
The green tree that you had on there? Yeah.
Yeah, we just got one. Yeah, just a male, just for looks. We
didn't know what to get each other for an anniversary one year, and we ended up with a green tree.
Oh wait, I thought that was my birthday.
No.
No, what? She runs them together, so.
I do not.
My birthday's on the 9th, and the anniversary is on the 7th. She did that so she'd ask to get one gift from me.
No, I did it so you wouldn't forget.
That too. That's the main reason, if we're going to be real here.
How do you guys schedule around that? Because you work full time, she works full time.
Well,
it's
in the morning,
that's a lot to take on.
It is. In the morning, he takes care of the Rhino Iguanas before he leaves for work. He has to get up earlier than I do, so I usually do more. I'll take care of the ornate Uromastics and the tortoises and the pectinatas in the morning.
The good thing is all those species she just named basically eat the same food. We get a variety of different greens and stuff, and we prepare them all like in a big Tupperware thing. We have a fridge in here, and then we have a fridge in our main house that we keep them in.
Chris. What Chris said.
You just created a silence break. He was giving me shit for that.
Hey,
damn!
Sorry.
Come on, Genie.
Sorry.
So where was I at? So they eat the same food. All the food's prepared already. So we have these big blue like food trays that you'd see in cafeterias. I almost said jail, but in cafeterias. So we, I get up in the morning, I throw bunch on there, and it's like 5 minutes just to
It
throw the
doesn't take
prepared
too
food
long.
on the trays and walk them out to the enclosure and
Cutting
stuff.
the greens up is the hardest part. So if we do it on Sunday and we make a lot for like 3 or 4 days, then we have that for the week almost.
Yeah. So I'll cut all the, we'll cut all the good parts of the greens, and then like the stems, and then some of the leaves that's left on the stems, I'll bag up and I'll actually give them to the rodents. So it's like everything that we use, we use pretty much all of it. Like we're doing,
there's no waste.
That's great.
Yeah, like say we're cutting up some sweet potato or something, you cut off the tips or whatever, and then those we'll throw. We also breed our own roaches for some of the bugs that we have, which that's really easy. And man, do they breed like crazy. But so all that, anything that's that we don't feed to the animals that's left over from the greens, it all gets used for everything. Okay. All pythons, I pretty much take care of all that. We have I left out boas. We have boas too. We have 9 boas. We're looking to get one more.
Oh, how did we forget those?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Central American boas. Nice. But so I take care of all the snakes. She does the Uromastyx and the
I do.
She does both geckos. She does the Ackie monitors and all that. And then as far as the outside animals, we kind of teamwork together on that. So
okay. Nice. It seems like you have you kind of follow a schedule.
Pretty much, yeah. We got it down. It's a lot of work, man, but we got it down.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm going to be 50 in June. I plan on retiring at 55. I do construction, kitchen and bathrooms and stuff. I've been forced to work at age 16. So I've been doing this stuff for a very long time. Wow. Picking up cabinets and all that for 30 plus years, kind of beats your body up a little bit, and so I plan on retiring. So my job, I'm my own boss. So as the years go up to say 55 is when I'm hoping to totally retire. I can choose to work like maybe 4 days a week and then gradually go to 3 days a week. And if I want to continue even working 1 day a week, I can do that. Just, for some reason, this doesn't work out for us. So that kind of works for me. And then, she's a teacher. She'll work.
How long do you plan on you want to just do that forever? Nice. The face instantly was like, if I wasn't on camera right now,
quit the first year
if I wasn't on camera, there'd be issues.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the 5-year plan as well.
So once you guys retire from neither one of those are 9 to 5s as much as people would like to say they are.
No, you're talking like 45, 50 hours a week at least.
Is reptiles full time? Are you going to be on the road doing more traveling? Like, what's the plan once you hit retirement?
We would like to do more shows out of state. Okay. So we would like to travel with the animals and do the animals full time. Obviously, that might be a little bit difficult with how much we have and the animals outside, and the lizards have to eat every day. So you have to have somebody come in and take care of them if we're gone.
Okay. And do you already have someone that you kind of trust when you're just doing the interstate travel, or is that something where it's like, okay, we're going to have to find, okay.
Yeah. Our daughter, she lives here. She's just graduated college. So she's here for now, but I'm sure that's not going to last too much longer.
And then our other daughter, she's not too far from here.
Yeah.
And if we're doing like big shows like Tinley or something like that, where we're going for a few days, I can just throw some cash at her and then, she'll take care of what she needs to. Obviously the snakes, she just got to really not do much for them. I'll make sure all the waters are changed and everything's cleaned up, and, we'll have like those sensor push or something in case, something goes bad on one of the temperatures, like the incubator or something like that. And we can just tell her, hey, we need to do this to this or whatever. So
they're pretty
we got all that stuff pretty much planned out and figured out how we're going to do this. I once had an old man tell me a long time ago that if you retire and the minute you stop working is the day you really start dying, you got to keep doing something, and it might as well be something that you enjoy, and this is something that we enjoy. So
for sure.
It's funny that you bring that up, because that's what I tell veterans. Like all my veterans, because we get in this mindset, right? Because you're like on the go 24/7. And even if you're not working 24/7, like you could be called in at any moment. So even if you're sleeping, if your phone rings, you're going in like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of them get out and they get super depressed because they're so used to having to be alert and having to be on the go and like working 14-hour days sometimes and just not thinking about it, right? And then they go and they just sit on their couch and they start watching TV. And I mean, you even saw it with me. Like if you, as bad as that sounds, if you paid attention to my social media, you watch me go like from soldier to kind of fat because I got lazy and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life to, okay, I'm starting to slim down a little bit more. I'm being more active, like finding my way through. And so it's definite, like it's anybody. As soon as you stop caring about anything and like become sedentary,
and then it's like a trap, man. Once you stop or slow down, then it's like hard to get back into it again. Just like going to the gym. Like I used to hit the gym hard when I was 40. I ended up getting in a car accident. I rolled a van like 4 times and I had, 10 sheets of plywood at 80 pounds a sheet that was leaning up against the wall, fall on me. It actually broke my back rib bone. And now like if that kind of like stopped me from like going to the gym all the time and stuff. So that's my excuse for being fat.
I mean, you're 50. You got a right to put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
It happens.
See, he said it.
I just have nothing to say about it.
Well, I mean, like, if we're honest, most people start putting on weight way younger than that. You said it first. I'm just saying.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So, oh Lord, you go through and you want to make this full time. Are you just looking at like the big shows? How far out do you want to go? Is this going to be like okay, I'm going cross country to like the super shows in California?
No, probably just the big shows.
I mean, I'd like to stick to like Tinley and then, the Texas, the Arlington shows and, the Daytona shows. I get, we do Repticon here in Florida and, you've heard all the stories with them. There's only, there's only 2 shows, maybe sometimes 3 that I do as far as Repticon. That's Orlando, Tampa. And every now and then where's the fire? That's in Lakeland. Yeah.
I mean, Repticon is our biggest show here. Once in a while we'll have a show me show around.
They're small though. They're kind of just breaking in, so they don't get a lot of people.
So there's really not many other shows to do here besides Daytona, and that's once a year.
Yeah.
They only do Daytona once a year?
Yeah, Daytona's only once a year.
Yeah.
And honestly, Repticons I think they're like once a month here. In Florida. Florida's a pretty big state. So you can pretty much go to, I think there's one this weekend, isn't there?
In Kissimmee.
Yeah.
But I think actually it's like almost every other week there is a show somewhere.
Yeah. And I wish that they didn't do that because
people lose their excitement coming to the shows because then they're like, well, we'll just go to the next one next week.
Yeah, it's like shopping. Say if you went to Walmart or something and you see something, I do need to get that, but I really don't feel like carrying it to my car right now, so I'll just come back. It'll be here next week, type thing. You know what I mean? With all these shows and I wonder about. You were saying that the one you're talking about, they're having them 3 times a year now. Where you're at?
Yeah, so we're doing essentially just under quarterly, but so there's going to be like a March, April show every year now. We're going to do a July show every year and then a November, early December show. So it's spaced out, but
hopefully it stays like that.
It needs to be close enough that people consistently think about it too. So it's hard because there's no market here. Like Mickey and the local breeders we're literally building this market from the ground up. And which is going to be great with what like Justin and Miguel and I forget his name, but
Ozzy,
the guy from Eye Candy Morphs. They're doing a lot of work down in Mexico, and like literally you can drive 30 minutes and be in Mexico here. So if we can build up a market here, and then get an exporter out of here that makes everyone that wants to come to the show, it makes it that much easier to export into Mexico and to grow that market as well. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. We could either build 2 markets at once, or hopefully, I mean, like literally you have people travel back and forth for work from Mexico every day here.
Yeah,
So,
I guess so. Yeah.
That's
The good
true.
thing about Florida, man, it's a pretty big ball python market. I mean, a lot of it started here.
right.
A lot of the old school, like Greg Graziani and stuff, they've been here, you know, from the beginning.
Crutchfield's,
Yeah.
you know, he's here.
So that being said, there's also a lot of ball python breeders, which some will say that's bad because that's a lot of competition. But those ball python, those breeders are also customers. You know what I mean? So when you have a ton of, you know, ball python breeders, and some people look at it as, oh, you know, they're going to undercut me and stuff, but they're, you know, if you're selling really nice high end stuff that's not available everywhere, they're actually going to be your customers, and it works out to your advantage. And that's kind of what we're leaning towards, is, you know, sticking to the higher end stuff. You know, when I first started getting in, and that's our biggest thing, at least right now, is the ball pythons. You know, we have a bunch of, you heard all the other stuff we have, but that's our biggest thing. And when I started off, you know, I was just like a lot of other people. You know, you wanted to get as many as you can and have this big facility. You're looking at bar checks and all that stuff. You didn't care what they were. You just wanted a bunch of stuff, you know.
You want to be a Wilbanks with 4,000 breeders.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so, you know, and then you learn as you go. You know, the first year, you know, I didn't think about stuff like that. I was buying a lot of collections. And it kind of worked out to my advantage, because I was buying like collections, like I'd buy 10 snakes for, say, $1,000. They're moving out of the state. You know, and I get like a pied and, you know, some other, you know, female single gene stuff, but they're already breeder size. So my very first year of deciding to do this, I was actually, I ended up getting, we get 2 clutches that year.
Yeah. And that was within the first 6 months of us purchasing.
Yeah. So one of the questions, you know, Chris will ask on his podcast, Snakes and the Fat Man, is, you know, how much have you put out and how much have you made? And, you know, we were in the black for the first 4, this is our 5th year now going in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were in the black all the way up till this year. And I say that because we invested a lot of, I bought some like professional rodent racks. I bought, you know, if you could see the racks behind me, we bought a bunch of racks, you know, because the shipping and stuff, if you buy more than one, the shipping, you know, if you get them together, the shipping works out for you better, you know. So, you know, we ended up just getting everything that we know we already know we're in this, you know, so we just got it all at once. We went out and bought like some of the best display cases and all that for our shows. So
I bought the geckos, which I just didn't buy like your low end stuff. Yeah, like you said, we're not going to have a ton, so I kind of went middle to high end with those as well.
Yeah.
Did you look into? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
South Tex Gex has this patented display for geckos, and it keeps it dark so that when you lift that, they stay fired up, so that when you're showing your geckos, they stay fired.
The only thing about that I mean, I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but don't those have to be covered up the whole time until you want to see them fired up? Like, so somebody's looking at your table, are they all shut until you want to see something?
Yeah, so they're shut, and then you would lift them up individually as you want to see. But so the way he does it is he writes with the little markers what's in there across the top, just like you would your normal acrylic, right? But that way they know what it is, they know what the price is, and they're like, okay, if they haven't seen like lychees or cresteds or stuff like that, obviously they won't know what it is. But for those of us that have been around long enough and like kind of know the islands and the differentials, right? You'll see it, and he lifts it up. I think it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, I ended up purchasing from LP Racks in the UK.
Are they over in the UK?
I believe so.
They're the same ones that displays that Ozzy used when he was doing the shows. She was checking in a different
That's who they were
displays
talking about.
for the geckos, and what she likes about those is they have like, God, I hate to say the word Tupperware.
Well, it's
but
like
they're like little
tubs.
Tupperware tubs that can be removed, and they actually have lids. So she don't want to leave the geckos overnight in the shows, so she can actually leave the displays and just pull the tubs out and have the lids on them, and then put them in a separate box.
So it's like the displays that a lot of people use for colubrids.
Probably.
Or it's like it's got the little holes for the dishes, like the water dishes to put in.
They're actual like white tubs
Okay.
like this, and they're about this deep, and they sit inside in a row, and then it has a piece of glass that goes over top of it so they can't get out. So then you just open it up and you put the lid on it and take it out, and it's ready to go. You just leave. And
the tubs are actually kind of disposable too. So if you wanted to, instead of putting them in like deli cups when you sell them, you can actually just put the lid on them and
pass it over.
And pass it over that way, So
it's one of the same things I love about.
Have you ever seen Ozzy set up at any of his shows, or Chris Davenport? I don't know if you know who.
I know who they both are, but I've never made it to like a Tinley or anything. So
yeah, he has the same displays.
Yeah, we're gonna try it out and see how it goes.
I'm sure it'll do great. It's one of the things I really liked.
I just didn't want to keep them in a deli cup, on the table. I wanted some way to display them to make it look nice.
Right. No, I think that's what a lot of people do. That's one of the things I'm most hesitant about too. Is like I've talked to Next Level about their displays,
ones I have
and I was like, that's the only one I want because it has everything on it and it's super easy and it's all in one piece. And
yeah.
The price just went up because cost of goods went up, and I was like, I should have ordered 6 months ago when I wanted to. But
I got the whole set.
He's got 4 of them.
Yeah. Well, I guess you shouldn't talk price. I was going to ask. I'll ask you.
I don't even know what it's changed. I have to re-talk to him to see.
Yeah, I know acrylic went up a lot, and I haven't checked recently, but I know like 6 months ago it was really hard to get it, and it went up pretty high. I'm sure probably because of COVID.
PVC,
like PVC went up.
Become crazy. Speaking about enclosures, like a lot of your stuff, because it's outside, did you build it yourself?
Oh yeah.
What did you like? What was behind your thought process and the materials with your construction background? Because I think that's something a lot of people would like to have, the DIY mindset, or they're like me, where I was like, well, I breed my own rodents, and honestly, I'm starting to get overrun. Like I'm not selling enough to the pet stores and stuff right now to do it. So I have these large troughs that I turned into like the large metal troughs you would use for cattle that I'm using for breeders that I can't put into colonies yet. And I'm trying to switch over to the maternity breeding, but it's been kind of hard because they're used to 8 months of colony breeding. So I got to break that thought process in them first.
So what are you breeding? The Norwegians or something?
Yeah, so I do Norwegians and I do mice, and I'm trying to find ASFs, but it's damn near.
Dude, I got so many ASFs right now. I'm
Send them
trying
over.
to downsize on them.
Send them over.
Yeah, I'm trying to downsize on them things, man. They're just for
I just
ASF
need like
breeding.
2 colonies. The way it heats up here in the summer, they do so much better. Like I had to get a standalone breaker for my garage just for the AC to run in my garage. So I had to do a breaker, and because my garage is on the far side of the house from the electrical box, we had to run line. And so that I could keep, because even right now, like our days right now are 85 degrees. Within the next month, it'll be 95 to 100 degrees for the next 100 days. So
do you get that humid heat, or do you get like that Arizona dry heat?
Yeah, it's the Arizona dry heat.
See, ours is humid heat.
Oh, I know. When I was a truck driver, I got one load down to Orlando, and I was like, these are brand new rigs that I'm driving, and you're supposed to like keep them clean and stuff. And I'm like, I'm running the AC full tilt, like stripping in the middle of the road because it's still not cool enough.
Like that too?
Yeah, by the time and this is when I was training for the job. So by the time we got into the hub that we turned in, I was like in nothing but shorts, and my trainer was looking at me like, you good? I was like, no, I don't. Like, I haven't been in humidity since I was like 10 years old, man. This is killing me.
Yeah.
Can we get to the airport now?
Yeah.
We visited Arizona and it was like June, and we're just like, we're not even cracking a sweat, and the other people are sitting there with fans trying to blow on them, and we're like, this is nothing.
I remember the one guy came up to us, we're like in a touristy area. Some dude comes up to us, and he's trying to sell us something, and all I could see is his lips look like a damn snake shedding. I was like, damn, dude, you need some chapstick or something. It's like, yeah, here in Florida, man, this humid weather here, it's like you can walk outside and walk halfway down the block and you're soaked. There, I could walk around the block 15 times and it's hot.
You take a shower and it's for nothing in Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to the original question of the cages.
You have videos on YouTube, don't you?
Yeah, I don't even know if they're still on there or not.
They should be.
Actually, this house here, I built this whole house from the ground up. Poured the slab, dug the footers, did all the electric. I had to change my 150 amp breaker panel in my main house to a 200 amp because I have a 100 amp panel here in this house. So I did everything. She helped me lift these walls up, as a matter of fact, when we were framing it together and everything. The only thing I didn't do was the electric, or I did the electric. The only thing I didn't do was the air conditioning stuff. I don't have the pools and stuff for that, but everything else that you like, if I have a running bathroom, I have a kitchen, everything in here. I did everything, built the cabinets, everything. As far as my outside enclosures, I kind of wish I would have known that, what is it? The tegus and stuff, you have to have permits for them now to keep those.
Right.
And you have to have, I believe it's like 8-inch thick concrete going up like 2 feet, or
you have to have,
I'm not sure exactly what the specs is on that. That doesn't mean I need to do that for what I have now. Like what I have now is perfectly fine, but I wish I would have known that when I built those. I would have just overdid it just in case they ever changed that law. So basically I used wire cloth, which is PVC coated.
Is that black stuff, right?
What's that?
Is that black stuff, or
it's black? Yeah, and it's metal on the inside. So when I built the enclosure, I had the cloth going all the way down and about 4 feet bent inwards, and then I took like pavers and I laid pavers on the perimeter on all of that. So if something did, and the pavers are like 2 or 3 pavers deep, so it's basically like a slab of concrete, but they're just in paver blocks. And then after doing that, I raised the whole interior of the floor probably 10 inches higher, the elevation. So if it ever rained or anything, it would drain out. It wouldn't puddle up inside. And also and the other reason for me doing is that I built like a concrete, I guess a pond, I guess you can call it.
Okay.
It's got a fountain that's on there. So there's moving water. And the fountain's hooked up to solar, so the fountains run, whenever the lights come on, whenever the sun comes on, or whenever you turn the sun on, whenever the sun's out, the damn fountain works. So, but yeah, so it's
solar.
It's escape proof, and the PVC coated stuff will last for many, many years. I mean, you have to break the PVC to rust out any of the wire. I'm not sure what kind of wire they use. I don't know if it's aluminum or steel. I think it's steel though. I'm not sure. But anyways, it's PVC coated all the way through. So it'll last for, who knows, 20, 30 years.
And then half of the enclosure is like shaded. So we have like the roof.
Yeah. Half of it's open, with just a screen on top. So the sun comes in. Then the other half I have pitched like a house, which the ceilings are even higher. So if they wanted to go in where the shade is, they can do that. Bottom part, I don't know if you ever seen Ty Parks, any of his videos where he has like his iguanas and stuff like that. He's got that corrugated roofing material that he uses along the bottom. So along with the screen, I also have that too, just so, because we have tortoises in the pectinatas enclosure, and it's so they can't see outside beyond the screen, when they're on you know, when they're on the bottom. So plus we have dogs. So you don't want the dogs to see them and think it's some kind of
toy,
Yeah.
run.
tortoise meal or something like that.
Well, you did that on both enclosures, even the rhinos.
Yeah, and I got videos. I don't
On
have the
YouTube.
build video anymore on YouTube, but I do have a couple videos where I'm inside the enclosure, and you can kind of check it out. I got it on my Instagram too. You can go back and see some of those.
Yeah, no, I remember when we first started talking. I think is when you were putting stuff like that out. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, we've only had the Rhino Iguana. She's
3 years old.
first. Yeah, she's 3 years old now. So we
picked her up at Iguana Fest, which was the second Iguana Fest.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you're familiar with that, but Ty
Parks.
Yeah, he was doing that every year, and then he's doing the zoo. Actually, we got to go after that.
That was a funny day because I told him we're not bringing anything back home, and then I talk him into getting something to bring back home.
We go there, and she's like, "Yeah, we're not bringing anything home." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't want any iguanas, anyways. I had iguanas 25 years ago, and it was a green iguana." So we get there, and Ty's got this 28-year-old Rhino Iguana named Donkey Kong, and he's like a dog, man. I walk inside the enclosure, he comes up, he lets you pet him, he arches his back, he squints his eyes and all that. I was like, man, this thing is so cool, and I kept going back to that. And she's like, oh,
I knew he loved it.
She's like, you should get one. I'm like, yeah, I probably will, but let me do some research. I have no idea. I have no clue how to take care of these things. And she's like, yeah, but you want it. I'm like, yeah, but let me figure it out.
You're an empowerer. You're dangerous.
Yeah, I could come back and check it out later. Next thing you know, she's like, of course I'm drinking. I'm there with, that's when I was there with Sean Bradley pushing him around in a wheelchair. And, so we're drinking and stuff. And then she keeps saying, I keep going back to it. She's like, you want it. Next thing you know, I'm buying a damn thing. And I have no clue how to take care of it. But
you come back and you go, hey, he's got the babies out over there. You want to go over and take a look? And then we ended up with one. Yeah.
So we got the one. And or actually a year later, we picked up 2 more. Nice. But them things are cool, man. I love them things.
How long does it take to get them to breeding?
3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Pippi, which is the big girl, the first girl, she's 3 years old. She's ready now, and she's huge. The male, he's 2 years. I'd say next year I should probably start getting some eggs from him. And the pectinatas, they're already locking and stuff.
Yeah, they're breeding.
Yeah, I think one of the girls, the smaller of the girls, is already gravid.
Nice.
So that'll be interesting.
So is that going to be the next step for you guys? Is looking at creating rhino babies?
That's kind of like a side
it's
thing.
Kind of like if they do it, they do it. If not, it's not a big deal because it's not like, I don't know. I don't want to call it a moneymaker thing because it's not why we bought them, but if they do, then we have babies. If not, it's okay too.
See, I like that mindset. I have a friend that's like, well, I got this, so I got to breed it. I was like, you don't have to breed everything you have.
Yeah.
Like you could just have this and enjoy it. Like it's cool to breed everything. Don't get me wrong. Like I understand the desire to want to breed everything at least one time. But
I'm more like your friend. I'm more like your friend because it's like when I buy something, I feel like we have to get a pair at least. You know what I mean?
You have to prove that you understand that animal through and through.
Yeah. And I'm like, if it happens, it happens.
I'm just saying, if you get those rhinos going, I want to be on that list. You could send ASFs and a rhino this way.
You know how many people we get messages from all the time on the ornate ear mastics? There's not many people breeding, at least in Florida. Like I'm always looking for them. Like when we go to shows, I've seen one at Daytona, one that was an adult, and they wanted, like triple or quadruple the amount of it as a hatchling. Of course, it was a full grown, a really nice looking animal, but I don't ever see those.
It took me 8 months to get them.
Wow. The ornates are the smaller ones, right?
Yeah, they're like green and
the
blue.
Egyptians are like the extremely big
ones.
ones.
The Egyptians are way bigger. But even the ornates have to have a large enclosure. It's 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. So and
actually,
even
most
as
of ours
little
are
babies,
52 inches.
Yeah, well, ours are a little bit bigger. Even as little babies, they use the whole entire space.
Wow.
Yeah, because usually we think babies smaller enclosures,
Right.
not with these guys.
You want everything closed off and to feel safe.
They want all that space, and they use it.
And it's one per enclosure.
Yeah.
It's not like you can put 2 and 3 in there.
Mm-mm.
The only time you put 2 in there is if when you're breeding them.
And then you still have to be careful. Like you have to be monitoring them.
They're like fairly aggressive,
Mhm.
kind of like the tegu breeding or the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Well, I guess
leave
that's
them
all
in-
monitors and lizards in general. They just don't like each other.
Yeah, well, our iguanas, they're pretty large enclosures too, like 12 by 18. What's up, babe? It's 12 by 18, and then the
There's
pectinatas, they're a little smaller species, and that's I think that's 12 by 11, if I can remember correctly.
Yes.
So yeah, they're pretty large enclosures for what they are. But yeah, the pectinatas are funny because they'll sit there and lay on top of each other and stuff. And
They're the most docile iguanas that you could probably ever own. They are so chill.
now, one thing I did find out about the rhinos, and if you want to get off the topic, just tell me. But
Oh, you're good. Dude.
The-
We
the-
could
the
talk
rhino
about rhinos
iguanas-
all night.
You're
I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of my focus when I set up this interview. I was like, I'm gonna get all the information on rhino iguanas.
so the rhino iguanas, and probably most other iguanas too. I can't speak for them because I don't know from my own personal experience. But the rhinos, like when we first got them, they're little babies, and we kept them in like a kind of like a ferret cage, where I can't actually walk inside. And boy, are they're flighty as hell when you have them in something. As soon as you're able to put them into an enclosure where you can walk inside and be inside the enclosure, it's totally different. You just kind of hang out in there. You don't try to approach them or anything like that. You sit inside and just kind of watch them. They're curious. They're watching you. They'll start to get closer. You give them a piece of banana or something. And it almost seemed like within a couple of weeks, all that flightiness just went away. And they're like, coming up to you and almost like a dog, like rubbing on you and wanting you to pet them and stuff. So.
Nice.
So anybody that has rhino iguanas that are flighty, as soon as you get them a nice big enclosure where you can walk inside, which is definitely recommended, you want a nice big enclosure for something like that. That flightiness goes away, and I speak from my own personal experience and from talking to others too that say the same thing. I can back me up
because all 3 of them were flighty until we were able to do that. Now you can walk in there and pet them.
So what are your nights like where you're at? Does it get cold at night, or is it kind of like the same as Florida?
It's typical desert. Tonight's not gonna get too bad. I think we hit like 82 or 83 today, and it'll drop down to 54.
Ooh.
So we're gonna like literally right when I get off this, I'm going to meet up with Dave Levinson, and we're going herping because he doesn't get to herp this area of the country very often, and he came in for the show. So we're gonna I'm gonna take him, and we're gonna try to find some atrox and some prairie and stuff like that. So but yeah, you get major temperature drops at night. Even the only time you don't really get that is like the height of summer, like end of July through August. It'll be 100 degrees still at night. But
yeah,
you just kind of get used to it.
Check your, like, if you decided to get one, if it got too cold at night, we have I built a hide box that has heat in there, for when it gets, when it's cooler weather and stuff.
Right.
And they'll just automatically just go right in there.
And then we lock it.
If it's going to be like 55 or lower, I just shut the door and lock it just to make sure that they don't come out like in the middle of the night, because then it gets kind of, little on the edgy side for the coldness.
Right.
And then if it gets even cooler than that, I'll actually put them in tubs and bring them inside the house. I don't rely on those heat pads when it's, down in the 40s or something like that.
This year we had a pretty cool winter. So we had some nights that got down to like 34, which is rare for Florida.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say.
But we had to bring everybody in. So
yeah,
that was fun.
1 or 2 nights.
Yeah.
How has the balance, because you guys have stuff that like ranges from desert to very tropical, how has it been adjusting for all those climates throughout Florida? I feel like there because you keep a lot outside, so I would assume the tropical stuff kind of gets to stay more towards outside, and then you have to figure out something for the desert climate, right?
Well, the animals that are outside were actually born in Florida. Like they say, if you're buying a tortoise, the best way to do that is to purchase a tortoise in the state that you're living in. Like if I was to, like, say a redfoot, if I bought one from New York and then took it down here, this is just what other people have told me. I think Ty Park and Camp Kennan, he's mentioned it a few times too. If they're born in the environment where they're living in, they actually adapt pretty well they acclimate to that environment, even though it's not the true environment where their species is from. As far as like the only other thing that's like really dry is probably the ornate uromastyx.
Well, the uromastyx, they go into brumation. So usually around sometime between September, October, they start going into brumation, and then I don't see them for months sometimes.
Yeah, but she keeps God, what are the lights that you have? The
UVB?
No, not the
heat?
Yeah, how many wattage?
Well, it just depends, because they have to get to 120-ish degrees.
Oh wow! So it's kind of like the beardies.
Yeah, it's really hot.
High basking spot.
So I use the roofing tiles and slate, and it gives them a nice heated basking area.
And the roofing tiles kind of helps absorb like humidity and stuff. So we kind of build the environment in their enclosures to keep it as dry heat as we can possibly do. So, and they're doing really well. So
yeah, I mean, they're thriving. We got them from Arids Only. Phil, he's great. Like, he helped me like get everything set up and everything, because a lot of people think you can't keep them in tanks, but like he's explained, it really depends on where you live,
right?
And we don't have lids on any of the tanks because they have their own separate room, so there's nothing holding the humidity in, so it's all escaping.
You're those people. You're the people that everyone talks about. They're like, wait, you have snakes at your house? Do you just let them roam around your house? You don't have anything on your cages. You just let the animals free roam.
Yeah, they're just free roaming. Well, it's 24 inches tall, so there's no way for them to get out.
I love that question. I think it's one of my favorite questions from people that just don't understand it. It's like, no, I don't I let the animals out to exercise. Like I have 9-foot long retics. So yes, I don't want them curled up in a ball all day, every day for their whole lives, because that's fucking cruel. I let them stretch out and exercise, but
absolutely.
Have you ever got them people that, they find out you have 1 or 2 snakes and they're like, oh, what are you doing with snakes? But then, they find out you have 150 or so, and all of a sudden they're interested and want to have a big old conversation about it. It's like,
my whole neighborhood
gross, but then,
my whole neighborhood, they looked at me, because when I first moved in here, I was one of the first people on our street. And so like everything was in the garage, and I was working on the garage to make sure we would be set right. And so we figured it out, and while I was working, they'd look in like, what's in that? Like, snakes? What? Yeah, I have snakes in those tubs. Can I see? Yeah, come on. They start looking, and they'll start pulling. All right, I'm gone. Thanks. And then I moved them into the house, obviously, and I turned the garage into the rodent area, and I opened the door, and they're like, wait a second, where are the old ones? I was like, they're inside now. Like, what are in those? Like, rats? What? You're keeping rats? I was like, yeah, I gotta feed my snakes. What? But you have rats in your house? Yeah. Right now, I don't have any place else to put them, so they're gonna be in the house. Sorry. And so they're like super they're nice about it. But like, luckily, the guy across from me, he breeds dogs, and so when they give me crap, I was like, well, you don't hear mine all day, so it's okay. And like he'll give me a look every now and then for it, but he starts laughing. Like we do block parties and stuff all the time, and it's easy. Like I have one tree in my front yard because my yard's super small. I can't wait to have something with acreage. But I have one big tree, so I'll grab the retics and I'll let them climb in it, or I'll like grab the other animals and I'll be in my front yard for anyone that wants to mess with them. Essentially, just anything to build a market here. And like the guy that breeds dogs used to have a big old berm, so he's completely cool with what I'm doing. But it's taken the 5 years that I've lived in this house to get the rest of the neighbors okay with what I'm doing. That's for
you
sure.
haven't kept it a secret, but
I don't tell everybody, but it's not a secret. Anybody asks me, but I think our one neighbor kind of knows. She had some squirrels in her front tree, and I guess some of the babies fell out of the nest.
Oh,
and she's all freaking out. And she's calling me up, and she's like, "Hey, don't you have an incubator or something like that?"
I'm like, not that type.
These aren't chickens.
Yeah. So
but we
yeah,
just kind of keep to ourselves. Like we live in a very quiet neighborhood, so
okay.
How long have you been at your place? Didn't you recently move, or have you been
No.
for a while?
So I've been here since December of 17. We wanted to move to northern Texas. All the jobs that I applied for up there came back without a job offer, unfortunately. And so my house here is like, oh, I'll put numbers out. I don't really care. My house here's, I paid 175 for. It's worth about 210 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a nice little bit of equity in the house. But everything up there for anything near the same size. And I'm like, my house is literally packed from wall to wall in every room because of the kids and the stuff the wife wanted and the stuff I wanted and the rats and all that. So I was like, well, the next place we move to has to have at least this much room. And I would like a workshop or something so we can start moving animals into a workshop or somewhere where it can expand, because we're like, I'm limited in what I can do now because I've expanded out as far as I can in this house. But everything up there is 400,000 plus. So even though in Texas I don't have to pay property tax anymore because I got 100% disability from the Army, I can't afford that change yet. So I got to find a job to supplement that at least for a couple of years.
Well, I could tell you this. Our first house was small. It was 914 square foot or something like that.
Yep.
And,
then
we filled it up. And then when we moved to this house here, it was like so much extra room. That room doesn't stay. That shit fills up too.
Never
man.
does.
No matter how big of a house you get or whatever, you're going to run out of room regardless. We built this house, and this house is full of shit now. You know, it's all reptile stuff, but yeah, you're gonna, no matter where you go.
That's why we're getting the workshop. And I was like, we get a really tall workshop, and if I run out of space on the floor, I build a second story. I fill that space, and then we go from there.
Our daughter, who still lives here, I've already claimed her room because I'm like, the gecko room is too small already now. So I'm like,
you're gonna kick our daughter out for her geckos.
Nice, great job, Mom.
That's what you're doing. You're already planning it. I see what you're doing.
I just said whenever she moves out. I'm not saying she has to.
Most parents do a workout room. I'm just saying, like a workout room / office when the kid works or leaves.
Well, I could still work out in there, technically.
Oh, we got a camper for that. Put a weight bench in our camper. That way we can hang our clothes on it.
There's a gym around the corner.
Right? You're in Florida. There's like a gym on every corner. It's like a Starbucks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, man.
That's true.
So, well, I guess we'll dive into the ball pythons. We did really good. What are your major projects that you're working this year, just so people can kind of get an idea of that, and what's really spiked your interest as far as ball python genetics?
Well, the thing that really caught my eye when I first kind of got into this was the puzzle.
Okay.
And one of the things I've been working on, one of my projects, and maybe this year we'll see it, I don't know, but I've been working on trying to produce a genetic stripe puzzle. So that's probably one of my projects that I'm really curious to see how it fans out.
Randy says yes.
Whether I'm the first to do it or Corey Woods, I know he's a year ahead of me on that project. Whether he does it first, I'm just
This can be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. And if they look like genetic stripes with a short eye stripe, then at least everything that I have, which I produced a lot of double hets of that with different codoms and stuff. At least everything will be either het genetic stripe or het puzzle. I just won't put them together if it doesn't look like anything cool. Another one that I'm kind of excited for, and it's also another double het, but I just ultrasounded the other day, and she's at 23 millimeter follicles, which is a Krypton het desert ghost that I put a black pastel Mojave double het clown desert ghost to. So I have a possibility of hitting double visual black pastel Mojaves. Is it 1 in 16? I think that's what it is on the double hets. But at the end of the day, if I don't get the double visuals, if it's 1 in 16 to get the double visual. Is that right? Am I saying that wrong? Or are you looking at your
I'm thinking. I'm trying to work it because the Krypton lowers the percentage because it'll force either clown or cryptic into
it does. Yeah. I'm when I was saying that, I wasn't even including the cryptic part.
Right.
So yeah, it does lower the percentage. I'm not even sure what that is. I have to look that up and see. Because technically it's a visual to a het, because cryptic and clown are allelic, so or they share the same allele.
So it should be a 1 in. I might be wrong in this. Don't slaughter me if I'm wrong in this, guys. I want to say it's a 1 in 8 because it's a visual to a het.
It's
I might be wrong.
1 in 8, or it could be 1.
It might be 1 in 16.
Would it be 1 in? I don't know.
I don't think it goes.
I don't know. I have to look into that. I know if it's double het to double het, it's 1 in 16. But now we're talking a visual to het, or visual to double het. So, and then the other one I got is also a Krypton het desert ghost. That I put a cypress honey 100% het desert ghost, and it's either 100% het clown or cryptic, because it came from a Krypton. So did I confuse it?
No.
Okay.
It can be
that's going to be really nice. It took me so long to get into the Cypress stuff.
Oh, I love Cypress, man. I ended up getting a Cypress Enchi desert ghost, man. That looks ridiculous. And a Cypress honey pastel desert ghost.
Very nice. Yeah, I can't wait to work it into DG stuff. So I'm going to be following you really close this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, out of those two that I just named off, I also got pastel double het pied DG to a pastel double het pied DG. Again, double het to double het. But say the Cypress, it's double het to, I guess, double or het visual, because of the Krypton.
Mm-hmm.
But, even if I don't get the double visuals, I still have a decent chance of getting like desert ghost with those combos or clown with those combos, and then obviously the rest would be 66%ers. So I still have chances of getting all that in there too. So I mean, that's cool. That's awesome, another good clown one that pies. What's that?
You've got the clown pies.
Yeah, another one I got she's actually waiting for her to ovulate, which is probably within the next week. But she's a visual pied 100% het clown that I put a visual clown 100% het pied to. Which the female is the pied, and I made her, so I know what she is. And then the male I proved out last year. So I should get some double visuals out of that. I think that one is going to be 25%. Because it's a visual het to a het visual. I think I get 25% double visuals on that, if I'm doing it correctly. And then I have another one. There you are looking at that light again. That's right in your face.
Well, no, it's not even that. Oh yeah, it's not even the light. Like I'm not even looking at that. I'm literally thinking. I stare off at the wall when I'm thinking. That's why I gotta work on that. Like I need to put like something here that says "Quit looking away, stupid" or something. But
I usually do that right before she's about to slap me, because when I do that, she
it doesn't hurt as bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so those three are probably some of the nice ones that I got, and I got a visual mail puzzle that I'm making a bunch of just hets, like I'm doing a cypress, or not a cypress. It's a red stripe het genetic stripe that I put a visual puzzle to. So I just want to get some red stripe. I got black pewter, which is pastel and black pastel. That all these girls are like really close to ovulating, the ones that I'm mentioning. So they're pretty much guaranteed either slugs or fertile eggs.
We had the spot nose puzzle.
Oh, I got 3 clutches in the incubator. I should get some visual puzzles in there. But
and how many are you at? Like, how many are you averaging now? Because you said you've been doing ball pythons for 5 years, right?
Yeah, well,
last year was kind of
last year I was expecting, I don't know, man. I was thinking 30, 35-ish, and I ended up with 17. It just was a bad year for me. And talking to, I know a lot of some well-known breeders that I talk to pretty frequently. And some of, like Ozzy once said that every 5 years you seem to get like a bomb year. And then the following year, man, it just blows up for you. I mean, bomb and blow up. You get a bad year.
Okay, you just need like 3 more words within like the next 5 minutes, and we're gonna be followed by like the FBI and all the other 3 other agencies. Oh wait, now we only need 2 more words.
Yeah, he was cringing. He wasn't doing this.
We don't need that.
So yeah, every 5 years, supposedly, some people believe that you get like a crappy year, and then the following year after that, it really does really well for you. So I'm hoping that that's what's happening to me this year. I'm expecting.
Well, it started off.
It could be up to 45, maybe even 50 of everything that I'm thinking may go. But realistically, it's probably going to be more like 30, 35. But the stuff I'm doing is crazy. Like I got a girl that's ready to lay eggs on the 7th. What's today? The 2nd?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's due to lay on the 7th, and she's a pied. And I bred a double het monsoon lavender albino, 50% het pied, so he could be a triple het. So I put it to a visual pied just to see if it ends up being, a pied or het pied. And if it is, that saves me like 2 years to be able to hit, a monsoon dreamsicle. And then that's the only monsoon thing that I have in mind is just that one male, which is a het, but you can see the males. Right. But a good friend of mine that actually, almost, I wouldn't say a business partner, but he has some animals that we're going to kind of breed together. He has a het monsoon female, and she'll be ready to go next year. So yeah, we should have some visual monsoon with combos in it next year. And then,
how far have you kind of stepped? Because obviously you're well within the realm of double recessives at this point.
Yeah.
When are we working towards those triples and quads? Is that already in the works, or is that something?
Well, I have some males that are double hets. I got candy pied. I got hypo pied. I got 2 candy pieds. I got a pair. Got a hypo pied.
But when are you going to be working towards triple and quad?
Triple and quad hets, you said, right? Or visuals? Hets. That could be next year. I can be making triple and quad hets next year. As far as visuals, it's probably 5 years down the road or something like that by the time you get to that.
What's your outlook on that? Because I know, so I've talked to Will about this. I've talked to Justin in person about this. I've talked to a couple of others. So obviously that you kind of need it to be in that mindset, right? If you're going to make a future in ball pythons, you have to be in that mindset. At what point do you decide, okay, these are the codoms that I want to work with, because it's a very long process in order to push into a triple or a quad if you just make that simple triple, right? And then you have to throw the hets and for each codom. And at what point do you think you need to start throwing those codoms or incomplete dominance or whatever you want to call them at this point into the mix before you start getting to those triples and quads?
I can tell you how I'm doing it for what I have in my collection. I'm making a bunch of, like, I have a male clown that's 100% het pied, and I got 2 females that are visual pieds that are 100% het clowns. All right, so now just for an example, and I think that's probably my largest project. I got a bunch of, I think I got 8 or 9 females total on that project. All the others are only going to be double hets. Okay, so a lot of those, I think there's 2 more that could probably breed this season. Now, my clowns, I'm trying to make visual clowns with, like, I've been investing in some stuff, and I'm trying to make visual clowns. For an example, I got a hurricane red stripe, a pastel hurricane red stripe visual male clown. I'm waiting for him. He's coming this month, maybe early next month from out of the country. And that male there, for an example, I'm not sure how, I haven't planned it out yet, but say I threw him with my visual pied that's 100% het clown. So now I have all those codoms mixed in, and I'll get it's a visual clown to a het clown, so I'll get half of those will be clowns, and then everything will be 100% het pied. So then I save a male from out of there, and then I throw it back to one of the others, and that's how you get the double recessive with all those codoms. That's, hopefully you kind of understood how I said all that, but that's like my plan, and that's just for what I have in my collection. Of course, if I had more money and I went out and just straight out bought triple hets with other codoms and all that, but your plan kind of has to work with what you have and what you can afford and all that stuff, and that's kind of how I'm working it.
Takes the longer route.
Yeah. So
even with that, like I think that's you're being smart about it, and you're actually thinking it through versus just being so focused on, okay, I have to have this double or I have to have this triple. And that's what a lot of the guys, especially at that amount in their career, right? Like 5 years in, you've done a lot, but you're still relatively young in the industry. So it's a lot of people look at that and they're like, okay, well, I really need that double because I could throw that double to everything afterwards and it'll make it so much easier. But they don't realize that everyone else is throwing like you're doing with codoms, and then now they hit that double, but as soon as they hit that double, they're like 4 years behind, 6 years behind everybody else because they didn't want to add codoms to it.
Yeah. And that's, and a lot of the stuff, it's, you gotta have some, like, if you can go out and get a bunch of females, or if you're able to make double visual females, like in my case, I just told you I had 8 girls in that one particular double recessive project. So it's still, if I get that, if the end game is trying to produce that male, and then I can throw it to all those double hets, and then you have a better chance of getting it. But during that time, in that 5-year process to do that, I'm making a bunch of visual hets, and you're just kind of building that up. So yeah, and once I hit, like, if I got a, obviously if I hit a clown desert ghost visual, that ain't going anywhere. Males or females, I'm keeping them all back, because then you can build off of that. And I'm not, this is not an income for me. This is, right now it's still just a hobby, but yeah, it definitely is going to be a future income. So I got to think smart of how I'm doing it and how I'm approaching it. So in the last 2 years, he's kept quite a bit back instead of, I got people calling me hoarders and stuff, and I don't have any crazy stuff, but when
wrong with that.
I am banging out some decent, visual hets and stuff like that. And I got people, I'll post pictures or something, and they'll ask how much, you can't keep all of them. You got 5 of them. Why all of them? It's like,
I mean, I can, but
I got the space. I bought all the Rex. I got all the space that I need. And another thing,
you must talk to Will a lot.
I like the way he does things, how he became who he did. He held on a bunch of stuff and watched everybody else making visuals and, making all that money right back, at the time. But now he's killing it because he kept all those double heads and triple heads and building all that shit. And now he's the one that's popping all that stuff out while all these other guys were only making, say, just like clown combos. And, now it just worked out. It was like a perfect storm for him because, double, triple recessive stuff is what's hot right now. And I think it's going to continue staying hot. It's only going to be quads.
Absolutely.
And then I think you can only get so many recessives before it starts turning into a crappy looking animal. So
it'll be like when we started throwing 6, 7 genes into a snake,
codoms,
and they all
of a sudden
came out white.
Looks like a stain mark or some shit,
or whatever.
So
it looks like a blue-eyed Lucy with pastel hidden in it, and it turns yellow and nothing else. Love it.
Yeah. And another thing that, and I kind of picked this up from Ozzy because I listen to a lot of these, these breeders that, have done really well. One of the things he does that I like is he keeps his collection small. He has a cap for the amount of breeder females. His cap is a little larger than ours. I think his is like 250, 300, something like that. Don't quote me on that. Mine, for the amount of racks that I have exactly enough to keep breeder females where I can have 148. That's my limit. So as soon as I hit that, I'm not doing any more because it's way too much work.
And even though we are planning to do this full time, we still want it to be fun and not just constant work, right. 10 hours a day.
Yeah, I don't want to be married to this job, I'm only getting older and, all the other stuff that we going on. So 148 is my cap. Not saying that that's, it'll probably be a while, probably 5-6 years before I even get to that point. I don't know, man. I keep holding shit back.
There's not much space.
Yeah, I keep holding stuff back. But, what Ozzy does is as he gets I don't want to say a higher quality animal, but
higher end
animal. Yeah, whatever. So he moves out, he replaces it, and then he sells that one off. So it's basically the way he does it now. I think that's what I'm thinking in my head. I haven't heard him say it, but for as many animals that he's holding back every year, and if he say he holds 30 animals back per year, and all his adult breeder racks are full and they're full time. After like 5 or 6 years, he's going to be selling off the same amount of stuff that he's holding back. And there's money in those too, and then especially when you get up to his level.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think about a lot of that little stuff there, the way Will does his breeding, as far as the holdbacks and, planning 5-6 years ahead of time, the way, Ozzy, keeps his cap and he's strict on that. He doesn't go above that, and even though I say that, but we go out and see a damn lizard or something and we have to get it. But as far as the ball pythons,
we're both bad at it. So.
And like the boas too. We plan on breeding boas, but we planned on just getting 10 to start with. And that's it. And maybe anything after that will be like something we hold back. I don't want to get huge with boas, just something to kind of tinker around with,
Right.
So
something to change your perspective and play with different genetics to see how they interact.
Variety.
Yeah.
I think
I get that. And
we'll have a variety of a lot of different things.
Well, I think it's, if you look at it, the way a lot of people are now, they're trying to look at what's been done in boas and apply it to ball pythons now, because there's a lot of similar type of genetics that are playing. And so they're like, okay, well, we made a red boa, so let's try what they're doing in boas to make that red ball python or things like that, right? So I don't know.
It gets confusing.
I think
you need to learn all the genetics on ball pythons, then you find a hypo is a codom in boas. So that'll throw you off. That's why I don't even know anything about the geckos, about their.
That's my.
I don't even want to know that. I'm trying to learn the boas now, because I don't know too much about all the different genetics and that, and there's so many different like albino T positives out there, and it's like ridiculous.
And the geckos are completely different, so that's a whole nother.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. So that's what my wife wants to do too. She likes the crested geckos. So we have an extreme harlequin female, and then we have a Halloween harlequin quad stripe male.
Nice.
And like I said, we've gotten a couple sets of eggs. We haven't gotten one to go term yet. Hopefully within 10 days of our first baby cresty being hatched.
Good.
But I also
they hatch in a big wide range, 60 to 100 days. They say if you can get it closer to 100 days, better, because the bigger the baby will be. So I've learned a lot of different tips and tricks from a lot of people that have been really great. I'm in a chat group with a bunch of people, and so they're very supportive, and we talk about a lot of different things, but the genetics is so different.
I'm gonna have to get that chat group offline.
Yeah, it's because there's traits, there's morphs. It's hard to keep it all straight. It's so different.
It's very confusing. How many groups of gecko breeders do you have?
Well, right now I only have 2 females breeding at the moment, because they're the ones that are up to size right now. I have 3 clutches right now, so they've been doing good. I had one set that was duds, and that's normal for a first-time mom. They're all not going to be perfect. All of my breeders for the geckos are first-timers. Okay. So I don't have really any proven breeders yet. I guess, well, I do now in a sense, but they're still on their first season.
Right. So I've heard a lot of different things as far as the size for the females and the size for the males. So what's kind of your standard for what you do as far as sizing?
I like my females to be at least 45 grams because they do lose some weight as they're, gravid before they lay. They'll go off feed. So they're not eating. The males will also tend to go off feed too. So you got to monitor them as well. I usually don't leave them in full time with the females. I'll leave them in for, a week and then take them out and put them back in their tank. So everybody has their own tanks. I know a lot of people that will do 1 to 2. And I just want to be able to monitor them a little bit better with that. My males, I like them to be, close to 40 grams because they do tend to go off feed a little bit. So I don't want them to lose too much weight.
Right.
And I've been told, I listen to Rack House. They've been around for a long time. They do a lot of gargoyles. They're known for those, but they also do cresties. He was talking about let them become 3 years old. He's had much more success once they're 3 years old, even though they may get to weight, when they're 2. He says he's had a lot of success and they've done better when they were 3 years old. So that's something to think about.
I haven't even heard anything about age. They're just most of the people I've talked to, they're just as soon as the females hit 35 grams, technically they can breed, but the bigger the better, obviously.
That's why I like 45 because it gives me a little bit of playroom, to make sure that they're doing well.
Makes sense. You see Jeremy over there, he's just
he's on his phone.
Sorry,
find something to do, geckos.
I know. He's I don't know anything.
I mean, you are in Florida. I'm not going to put anything past you. There's a Florida man joke going around the country for a reason.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Well,
that's
luckily
awesome.
he was born in Japan. He's not a true Floridian.
That's awesome. I've really enjoyed this. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. There's definitely so much more we can do. We just like barely, I don't think we even looked at the tip of the iceberg yet. Like we just kind of got to know Jeremy and Genie a little bit more today, which is definitely my fault. I should be like a lot more invested in my friends and people that support me. I'm gonna call myself out right now. You guys have definitely been a blessing in my life. You're always there. You've always been supportive, so I really appreciate it. Definitely going to be around too. I've been saying that a lot lately. I'm actually having some really good guests now that I want to know more about. Maybe I'm just becoming more invested. It's scary.
It happens.
Yeah. But
thank you for having us on.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I stole you for an extra half hour, so I hope that's okay. I know Jeremy's getting old and it's probably like way past his bedtime right now. But
actually,
thank you for staying up that long, old man.
I stay up late and get up early. I have a quick question. You guys, are you planning on going out to Daytona this year?
When is
finally get to meet in person?
When is it?
August.
August.
Yeah, we'll be vending out there.
Let me pull up the dates and we'll talk. So we have the 3 little ones. So long distance travel is just me most of the time, and it's really hard.
Yes.
I say long distance, but like Arlington's 10.5 hours for us. So I go to that one, but it's because her family lives up there. So like if she doesn't, we could drop the kids off and go. Yeah. You know what I mean? I guess we could do it. I could fly out of Dallas with her and we could go there.
Have you ever been there before?
I haven't. I haven't been to a Daytona yet. I haven't been to a Tinley yet.
I've never left the state of Florida for a show, to be honest with you. But everybody,
hopefully your first Arlington, I'll have a house up there, and I'll just be like, "Hey, just come on over here. We'll play with the animals all night." It'll be good.
The good thing about Daytona is it's right there on the beach, and there's like so much stuff to do. So, like, if your wife goes and she's not digging hanging out in the show all weekend, she can hang out on the beach. There's pools there. There's arcades and all kind of different things. Walking up and down the beach. It's really cool. I believe they do fireworks and some. Didn't they do fireworks and stuff there too at night?
There was one night.
They got like jugglers and all kind of funky stuff out there. It's pretty neat.
I want to. I would love to make it out there. I want to meet Ty, obviously, someday.
I'm going to his place in a couple weeks.
And actually, I think next weekend. I would love to meet Tom in person before
Crutchfield.
Yeah.
I'm going to his place in a few weeks. And that being said, if you do go to Daytona, the reason why I'm going out to there, I can't really say yet. I'll probably announce it like a month before Daytona, but it's something very huge that I'm doing for the USARK auction.
Nice.
Okay.
We didn't even touch that. I wanted to talk about your mystery box and everything.
The last Daytona, I made this little money box. I think you've said something about it.
Yeah, I loved it. That's what made me and Antoine do the.
That's what Antoine was saying. Yeah,
we're like, there's no way we could let Jeremy raise that much money. Don't bring.
Yeah, it brought in. I can't technically take all the credit because the box was redonated.
A few times.
But at the end of the day, my idea brought, because what was in the box was also donated. So it was like $28,700, I think, was the total. That just a stupid idea that took me, I don't know, 3 hours to put together, and took me several hours at the show and talking to different people, helping out and getting it out there. But yeah, so this year I'm trying to break that record, and something I'm doing that it's a little different this year, but it's it involves Ty Park, Tom Crutchfield, Brian Barczyk, Ralph Davis, and a few other names out there. But I just don't want to say exactly
got the legends.
What's that?
Gundy.
Got the legends going.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't let him fool you. It wasn't a stupid idea. It was a great idea.
What was?
You said your box was like a stupid box, but it was really great.
It was something that
I loved it. It was an amazing idea. We went and we were like, you know what? we didn't raise enough during the fight. So watch this. We went to the USARK auction and was like, who wants our sweaty ass shorts? We signed them.
That's funny.
Yeah. Eugene Passat. How do you say his last name?
Eugene Vissette.
Yeah. He's the last person to win that box, and he's telling me, he's like, man, that's a great idea. You got to do that next year. But he's telling me different ways to do it. Instead, he said put like plexiglass where you can kind of see in and all that. But I think the box is a one-time deal. I think it'll be a flop next time if I did it again. So I just
it's completely different.
Yeah, what I did this time is totally
you just
different.
have to rebrand it. You got to figure out a way to reinvigorate the idea.
Maybe next
or do it like do a rotation, like every 4 or 5 years, do a mystery box or something where they have to guess something.
Yeah.
And play on it. But yeah, heck yeah. Speaking of USARK, for those that watched the USARK podcast, I did a promo for the rest of March for anyone that renewed or got their first membership. We ended up hitting 8 new memberships for the month of March, which is awesome.
Yes.
I wish it could have been more. So I said $10 per membership. So technically it's 80, but I decided 80 isn't really, well, even what I'm sending is not enough. I'm going to put out 100, just because it's a round number. And I feel like at least that gives someone a half membership somewhere.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
That's great.
We'll do that. And then also with Vivtec, obviously, I'll bring that up again. Everything I make off of Vivtec as a sponsor until the fall Arlington will all be donated to USARK at Arlington. So if you guys are looking for bulbs, make sure to go to Vivtec and use my code. But Jeremy, Genie, thank you so much. We're definitely going to do a second round. We're going to dive into like morphs and breeding a lot more.
Okay.
Guys, make sure you check them out. I put their Instagram and I put Jeremy's YouTube on it, so hopefully he's still posting on it. I didn't get the morph market up, but the morph market will be up by tomorrow morning.
Anything, but if you can just Google Bauds Exotic Reptiles and pretty much everything pops up. So we're an LLC now. We recently did that, so.
Good job. I'm proud. That's one of the things I'm striving for this year. I want to be an LLC, even if I'm not producing much. That way I can start putting the rats and the snakes into one thing. And then eventually when they both grow large enough, they'll split off into their own entities and own LLCs. Mm-hmm. We all know how that works, hopefully. If not, learn how business works, guys.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you go give these guys a bunch of love. Next week, we'll be talking to one of the rack makers in the industry. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. Y'all have a great weekend. If you're at a show, be safe. Buy some cool shit. Support USARK. Y'all have a great one.
Bye.
See you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. And if you're not watching live, thanks for checking it out after the fact.